Grant, well, you know what I was hoping to talk about today? I was hoping to talk about questions that someone should ask a realtor, because so often we see these listings that have been on the market or expired or canceled, and they're not even that far off on price point, but obviously something went wrong with the sale process and they didn't sell, right? So what do you think the top 10 questions are that people should be asking their agents before they sign that next listing agreement?
I mean, probably number one is really just experience related.
Yep.
I'd want to know, how long you've been in the business. More importantly, how many transactions are you doing each year?
Yep.
And are you actively doing transactions in our local market?
I think that's the biggest piece too, right? The average agent last year did 2.4, 2.6 transactions in the region of Waterloo. So it's how often are they actually doing the job? Are they doing the job 3 or 4 times a month, or are they doing it 2 or 3 times a year? Because that's really going to direct the experience or the outcome that you actually get.
Huge. I mean, do you want somebody who's negotiating a property every 6 months?
Yeah.
Or do you want somebody who's negotiating on a property every week?
Yeah.
That's really huge, and I think it's really going to dictate, how smooth that transaction goes, and more importantly, how much money's in your seller's pocket at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. What about the whole fact of, say, they're a solo agent versus a team agent? Right, I always get a lot of people asking me that aspect when we're in listing appointments, right, of talking about what's the difference. What does that get them at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to personal preference, and some people are going to like one way or the other.
Absolutely,
I mean, solo agents, you're going to get more of that boutique feel. You're going to get much more personal attention. The downside is that solo agents got a lot of behind the scenes work to do. They've got everything to do. They don't have anything else, anybody else doing a lot of the background work, getting ads up, servicing leads, all those sort of things.
I just thought about it. It's like a jack of all trades is a master of none, right? It's how much are they going to be able to put into the marketing time to get as much marketing as possible, to get as many buyers into the house as possible, right? Are they going to put more time into doing the paperwork and the admin side, right? That's the bonus of the team side, is that stuff's all taken care of.
Absolutely.
You don't have to think about posting that ad. You don't have to think about getting that paperwork uploaded or writing that description down, right? Or a lot of agents just using ChatGPT to do it.
Yeah,
right.
100%. It comes down to support, right?
Yeah.
You got somebody with a team environment. They're going to have assistants, transaction coordinators, marketing coordinators. Somebody to take care of the staging side of things.
100%.
I mean,
I think a big key indicator too is the piece of when they get that lead for your house, what's going to happen to that lead, right? Do they have the time to then now call that lead potentially up to 7 times before they connect with them and connect with them to get them through for that open house, or through for that showing? Because a lot, if you're doing other stuff or you're banked with other clients too, you may not have that time as a solo agent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another question that comes to mind for me, I think a lot of folks really want to know and need to know, is really what's the marketing strategy that you're going to have for the home?
Yeah, I think that's critical as well too. Not a lot of people actually have a marketing strategy, right? And that's why it's good for them to ask, because a lot of agents are going to do the 3 Ps of real estate. They're going to put a sign in the yard, they're going to put it up on MLS, and they're going to pray that someone else sells it.
Yeah.
Right? You want an agent that's going to go that extra mile and actually put that effort into marketing, but also actively prospecting for those buyers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of aspects, right? We've got the obvious, the social media. We've got it to get up on MLS.
Yep.
We've really got to talk about, our open houses. What are they going to look like? Are they just your standard 2 to 4 Saturday and Sunday? Is your agent going above and beyond, doing evening ones, really, catering to different people's schedules? Not everybody is available on the weekends. Some people work weekends. So let's make sure we open things up to those buyers too.
Yeah.
Also, photography, all that sort of stuff. Are they investing in your listing, right? What are they doing with the money that they're getting paid for this?
Absolutely. And I think that goes to the discount side too, right? Are they going to have the ability to actually put that marketing into play to get you guys the most amount of buyers through, to get you the highest offer on offer day?
You're right. We still to this day see listings, and it's clear that the pictures have been taken with a cell phone.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think one that came up for me too in that conversation was, are they a local agent? I would say local agent. I would say, have they done sales in the neighborhood or the city at least?
Yeah.
Right? Do they know what the clients or what the buyer profiles are right now in the active market for the city and everything that your house is in? That's a great question as well.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, having sold homes in the neighborhood is fantastic. At least having sold homes in the city is good. But I mean, your agent needs to know what buyers are looking for in that neighborhood. What are the key highlights of it? How good's the school? Does it have French immersion? How are the is there transit? What do we have for parks? What do we have for community centers? Like so many things like that. I mean, some people, it's really important to just have amenities that are walking distance.
Yep.
So huge asset to have a realtor that knows your neighborhood.
I think the biggest one that jumps out at me is there was a client that you had just met for the first time, and you brought them to the west side of Kitchener, northwest Kitchener, and literally the Waterloo Region dump is less than a kilometer away.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main points you talked to them about, is that dump is literally a kilometer north of us, and where does the wind majority come from? It comes from the northwest.
Yeah.
And they didn't buy, thankfully, and they thanked you for that aspect like after the deal was done, after they did buy.
Yeah, just a little bit of a tip. I mean, we were looking for houses in the winter, so you wouldn't have noticed.
You wouldn't have noticed, yeah.
But I mean, the
moment spring
humidity in
comes,
July, you're going to know.
Yeah,
so.
you'll know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another one would be staging. Obviously, what do you offer for staging consultations or staging of a home? And how is it going to affect the sale price of the home? That's a big question I think that sellers should be asking right now too.
We know that a home that's been put together or staged properly is definitely going to sell for 10 to 15% higher.
Absolutely.
That doesn't necessarily mean an entire house worth of staging furniture, but that definitely means having a consultation with an expert stager. We've got a few to be able to move things around, use what you've got, but put it in the right places. And make sure your home just showcases the best it can.
Yeah, I always say it's taking the psychological aspect of the buyer coming into your house, taking them out of hey, who lives in this home right now? Who are these people? You take that out of their head, but you place it where they're placing themselves living in it. So you want to depersonalize, you want to declutter. No pictures of who's living there currently on the wall. Their mind's gonna go into the place of hey, my furniture can go here, can go there, and envision themselves living in it rather than wondering who's in it currently. Right? Totally. We want to have them thinking that way.
Yeah. I mean, my line to my clients when we're going, or my line to my sellers when I want them to think about it, is make room for the buyers to imagine.
Yeah.
So if you've got too much of your own stuff in there, you can't let their imagination run. Yeah. But so give space for buyers' imagination is key.
Nice. What else you got? What other questions you got?
I mean, we can go back to that comment just about cell phone photography on a listing. So ask your agent what kind of photography, what kind of digital media are you using, and is it high quality?
Absolutely. That makes a massive difference, especially in today's market, because if they're having lower quality photos and lower quality videography or anything, how are they going to use that to market in the future, right? How are they going to get potential buyers? Yeah. I think the videography is a must now, and doing multi-platforms as well, right? Make sure he's getting on YouTube, make sure he's getting on Instagram and all the online platforms where the majority of people are going to see it these days, right? Not just on as a what's the guide, as a multi-unit guide or whatever that they have online, right?
Yep.
Not using your cell phone.
Yeah, just don't. I mean, little videos and stuff like that. But I mean, the professional stuff that's got to be out there. Invest.
Investor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The big one is going to be how are you pricing my home? I mean, pricing strategies in this market.
That's a really good question too. Yeah.
Differ for different segments of the market. And
absolutely.
And how are you articulating that?
Yeah. I think in regards for pricing, yes. Do they have enough comparables, right? Have they looked through the market? Have they gone back in time? Have they adjusted for how the market has changed too, right? That's a big piece. You see a lot of agents that, this one sold almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And they don't take into account that the market rose by 4% until September of last year, and then it dropped by 10%, and now we're kind of coming back up. have you taken that into account, or are you just pricing it just based that it was the same type of home and it sold for X?
Sure.
Right. A lot of people we see overpricing using that strategy.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we've got a huge amount of tools and data. Make sure you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Go through the stats, make adjustments properly. Make sure you're providing your clients with a CMA, a comparative market analysis. Make sure you're watching trends, where things are right now, where they're going to be if they're another month or two before hitting the market live. Yeah. There's lots of consumer data out there. There's things like House Sigma and all those sort of things that have algorithms. I mean, don't rely on those.
House Sigma every time.
Yeah, I mean, don't be a lazy agent. I mean, that's really it. So make sure you're not hiring a lazy agent.
I think really, and just to top that one off, is going through the different strategies that you can use to actually sell your house on the list price alone.
Sure.
Right. 90% of our marketing is going to be the price of your home. Right. So what strategy do you want to use to potentially get the most amount of money, to get the most amount of interest and the most amount of buyers through in your house too in at least the first 10 days.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
One that we see a lot of, the majority of the complaints come from the general public for realtors is the lack of communication.
Huge.
So I think a big question that most people should be asking is getting clarity on how are you going to communicate with me throughout the process, and make sure it aligns with the way you want to be communicated with.
Yeah, that's so huge. I mean, this day and age, depending on people's employment, their family scenarios, and all those sort of things, people like to be communicated differently. Some clients just like the personality of a phone call. Other people are go. They love text messages, right? They never miss them. They can reply to them all the time. Other people like things on record and on emails. So, I mean, it's literally just a conversation you need to have. How would you like me to communicate with you? And then just do that. Yep. And then there's no confusion. Cadence and timing is huge as well too, right? Yep. Some people like to be, some sellers want to know the day of, how did that showing go or whatever. I mean, we don't get feedback a lot, but I'd like to know that I at least tried. And pre-frame your clients ahead of time so that they're not guessing about when they're going to be communicated with.
100%. Yeah, the pre-frame is definitely key. I think it takes me back to the other one we were talking about is the solo versus team too.
Sure.
I think the whole aspect of the solo agent having so much to do, a lot of times the communication piece is what gets dropped off. That on the team side, you almost have someone that's dedicated to the communication at least once or twice a week.
Totally.
Right, where they can actually touch base, have that other person to reach out and ask questions to if the agent is busy at that time as well.
Yeah,
right.
and that's somebody that's a little bit proactive, right? Some clients don't want to bother you per se. Yep. So if you've got somebody on your team that is literally just there for client care, to reach out proactively and say, hey, has anything come up? And can I handle anything for you? Yeah, it's just support. Right?
Absolutely. I think that goes a long way, and just transforming how I think real estate is done between real estate agents and clients. Like communication is key, 100%.
Always. Yep.
Yeah. Nice. What else you got?
Everybody wants to know and wants to talk about money.
Commissions.
I mean, what are your fees? They're always different. So knowing full well what your agent is charging you and where that money's going.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know that, like, obviously commission is flexible, right? And there's no set commission out on the market today. There is no set commission. We're not allowed to do that. It's called price fixing. We're not allowed to do that. But it is, like you said, it's being clear and concise on exactly what you're getting for that commission at the end of the day, right? And having everything documented and detailed in that listing broken down so you know exactly what you're getting. So if the agent isn't providing that standard, then you have something to go back on. Because so many people get left in the dark. Yeah, they get charged 4 or 5% and they're not actually getting anything for that fee.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to go hand in hand with everything else that you offer, because you as an agent are investing in the sale of their home. I mean, and when I'm investing in something, I want to know where that money's going, or at least that there's a plan for that. It's not just up in the air.
Yeah, I like that. I like that coin, that term there, investing, because you're investing in the sale of your home.
Oh yeah, it's our risk first, right?
Yes, it's our risk first, and then it's paid out as a commission at the end of the day.
Totally. Yeah. Okay, Jerry. How do you handle situations where the deal is not progressing the way it should?
This one's a good one. And I think this whole side of communication has gone to the backdrop with a lot of agents because COVID was so crazy. No one had to deal with homes not selling.
True.
They always sold. So that aspect is, where are you going to come from for communication piece to start, right? Are you communicating with them on a timely basis or on that set alignment that you have? And then are you looking at price corrections, right? If we haven't sold, why? Look at the data. Look at that aspect of what was the feedback on the showings, how many showings do we have? And then the standard is like if we've had 12 showings and no offers, we're probably about that 5% high. Or if you've had 0 showings at all in that first like 2 weeks, you're probably 10% high, right? So I think it's just communicating that aspect and making sure everyone's kind of in aware of what's going on in the feedback of the house as well. What would you say?
Yeah, huge. Again, echoing the communication, it's a whole lot easier just to have people in the loop. Again, aligning what's going on with the property as far as activity on the property with what's going on with the rest of the market, and are they parallel? You know, is the market slow this week for everybody and it was slow for us is one thing, but if the market was hot for everybody else and slow for us, well, then we need to we need to pivot, and we need to pivot quick, because you literally, your first 2 weeks are crucial.
100%. The first 2 weeks are the most important 2 weeks. You're going to have any potential that's going to come out is likely going to be in that time. What I've done for people in the past is actually sat down and say, hey, this is what did sell while we were for sale, and what was different about each piece. Why did that one sell and we didn't? Right? You look at price, look at condition, look at the neighborhood, that aspect, like where are they, where are they on a main street, or are we on a main street versus not? Right? So at the end of the day, is it going to come down to price or condition, right? You just want to work through it so everyone kind of knows and they're not left hanging. Because if they're left hanging, that's how they end up leaving you, and you get a bad review out of that, and you get a bad taste of realtors, because that's what, a lot of times that's what happens.
Yes,
people don't want to have that tough conversation.
No, and nobody likes surprises. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're being a smart realtor, you're talking about these scenarios at the beginning. When you're talking about listing, it's like, okay, everything's not always sunshine and rainbows. I mean, like, real estate is around people, and people is going to create problems. Get out in front of them ahead of time, and always have a plan B. If this and this and this is not going according to plan, we pivot and we go here, we go over here. And so, I mean, most of the time when I've pre-framed things properly, if things aren't going the right way, the seller will bring it up. Hey, do we need to go down this road? Yep. And it's a heck of a lot easier conversation.
Yeah, nice. All right, Graham, I think we hit the nail on the head here. We had 10 solid questions that people should ask their realtor when they're thinking about selling their home. What do you think?
100%. A lot of stuff I wish I knew the first time that I bought and sold in real estate. So it's an incredible value. I think it's a good watch. And honestly, if you're not looking to sell your home, you just want to know what your home is worth, give us a call. It's great to check on your equity. Literally, you're just checking on your investment. We're happy to do that. Reach out to Jerry or me or the team, and we'll come meet. We'll just have a chat and get you an opportunity to ask all those questions.
Awesome, guys. We're always here to help. Chat soon.